Welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit about the guilty mind, the mens rea, if you will, the piece of this Gordian, or the thread of this Gordian knot that I don't think is cuttable. But we've got the mind shrinker on the other side of the table here who might be able to help us take care of this a little bit.
I prefer the term mind jockey.
Mind jockey. See, I didn't want to give away your email address.
I'll even assume the jockey position.
So one of the other big arguments and big fights is about the self-radicalization. It's a term that I like, leaving a horrible taste in my mouth at this point. It's like biting into a penny to say self-radicalization anymore, because to me it's just like self-radicalization is kind of like self-help. You're not helping if you're helping yourself, you're just doing something, right?
That's right.
So if you're becoming radicalized, you don't radicalize yourself. You just become radicalized from all these different other things, these other influences where things are radicalizing you. And so the initial knee jerk I saw from a lot of folks on the right about this guy, especially from Donald Trump, which is why I thought that he had a couple of days trying to explain his response to this event, was this business of, look, hey, I was right. Look, we got to ban all Muslims. Well, this guy wasn't particularly religious, or at least hadn't acted particularly religious, and was also a citizen born in this country back in the 80s. So the San Bernardino was the same way. The husband at least was going to kill a bunch of people. The wife from Pakistan helped him out. We're seeing these folks pop up where no external banning, monitoring, that sort of thing would be effective. We have to attack the ideology, and that's what you want to talk about. Is that possible? I kind of don't think so. I kind of don't, not in the way that we've been attacking it anyway.
Well, there's several people that have said that this was a coordinated effort. We have the Orlando. We have a person in California that had been arrested. I can't remember.
That white guy that had
And so they're looking at there's any links. We have up in Boone, Iowa. We had a lady arrested, and I don't know how many pipe bombs they found, but they found 20, 40 pipe bombs in her house and 2 or 3 in a car. And I'm like, I'm just going to take a quick aside. Be grateful that we have weapons like guns, because I can tell you, if this guy had bombs, we'd have been talking, the entire building would have come down. Everybody inside would have been dead. That's what happens. I mean, the most destructive mass killings come from bombs. So the FBI really is looking at if all these things are a coordinated effort from ISIS or ISIL or whatever they are. They did take credit for it. They said, this is our boy. We're proud of him. And then they said something ominous. Expect more of the same. So my thing is how are you going to stop this self-radicalization? Mm-hmm. And if you go out on the internet and if you look stuff up, Google has a algorithm. You look up at something, and then it's going to say, well, hold on, since he's looked at 2 or 3 of these sites, we're going to start shoving more of those sites over there to him.
Right.
If you have an idea and you're trying to look it up, you are going to get all kinds of sites down the road that's going to reinforce what you were originally looking for. Now, I'm going to tell you, as a psychiatrist, I look for a lot. I deal a lot with sexual abuse of children and human trafficking. I'm going to tell you, thanks to my friend Pat Banzani, she does the same kind of work. And she told me way back when, even before Google came along, when it was Yahoo was a big thing, she said, for God's sakes, don't do any of those searches. Because what will happen is after that, your email will get spammed like that, everything else. Honest to goodness, is true. So if you're out there going, well, hold on, maybe I don't know enough about Islam, maybe I need to defend whatever, and you start looking for that and you're trying to find information, pretty soon you have all these ideas you already have in your head, and then it's reinforced by these guys out on the internet. And the problem is you and I are both savvy enough to know, oh, hold on, not everything you print on the internet's true. Mm-hmm. But you get some kid 22 years old, maybe been to Saudi Arabia twice, right? Maybe all this is reinforcing. So how do you stop that? Well, you really can't. If you want to have freedom, you cannot stop this. All you can do is try to influence it. It didn't stop in Tiananmen Square. It didn't stop with the Cold War. Putin's over there shutting down all kinds of sites. He shut down Twitter one time because he didn't like whatever it was somebody posted about him. All across the Middle East, you have people banning social media. Doesn't work. That cat is out of the bag. It's too late. And all you can really do, and I saw, did you see the interview where this guy's dad got up there and apologized to everybody? I felt bad for the guy. I felt bad for this guy because here he is living the American dream, and he's got a kid that does this, a radical Islamist. And he's, honest to God, you can see it in his face. How did this happen? Right? Well, the problem is there is something missing. These people need to get out and have this sense of self-importance. So the human aspect of this, you cannot change. You and I agree on that. What I do think you can change is there are patterns of behavior that terrorists follow. One of them is usually they've been to a country that in some way has hosted terrorism. In this case, it's Saudi Arabia. He has a wife from Pakistan. He may have gone to Afghanistan. They're still investigating that. Maybe it's time to go, well, hold on. If you've left here and gone there and then come back, maybe we don't let you back in the next time you go. There are legitimate reasons. There are legitimate reasons to go to Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. People have business. People do construction, contracting, all that stuff. There's legitimate reasons. But if you're just some 20-year-old kid living in your dad's basement with your wife or whatever, however old you are, and you go to Saudi Arabia, that should be raising red flags. Now, my next point is going to be, how did the FBI fail in this? Did they have a failure here?
From what I saw, no. Excuse me. He was investigated. 2 or 3 times, I think, because they'd found some stuff that he had written on jihadist websites or some comments that he'd made maybe in social media. I'm not sure. Back in 2013, they investigated it. They went through everything, and they came up with nothing. You see this all the time, where a law enforcement official is pegging somebody. They have an investigation into something or other, and nothing happens. They don't have enough to go on. They don't have enough to do anything about. 6 months, a year, in this case, 3 years down the road, the guy that they were looking at kills a bunch of people, and they think, what could we do differently? In the moment, nothing. There's not, because law enforcement is still constrained by its rules of engagement with respect to probable cause and due process and everything else that we require of law enforcement. And this guy, as an American citizen, had rights. And so it's easy to point the finger and say, we should have caught him back in 2013. But if he wasn't doing anything, and there wasn't any, and the only evidence was that he was pissed off, excuse my language, Mac, that he was angry and saying things about radical Islam on websites, they looked into it. They came up with nothing.
The First Amendment, you're allowed to say stuff like that, right? I don't think he said anything that was insightful. We're going to continue to talk about the impact of social media. We're going to talk about what the FBI could have done differently. Should we have arrest warrants based upon social media and Twitter and tweets and stuff like that? I mean, China and Europe and Russia's all do. We will be back right after this break. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We couldn't do what we do without you.